In 2022, NASCAR fans were graced with the ascension of Trackhouse. Trackhouse had in 2021 been an okay team with Daniel Suarez, but Suarez took a step in 22 to being elite, and Chastain took the giant leap to being that elite driver. And while it's a great story, and it's one that I think a lot of teams are going to be looking at to see a blueprint of how to go from a mid-pack team to a great team, I think one thing we should look at is who might be taking those steps and who in 2023 and beyond is going to be the next team to really jump up and challenge the big shot teams. And to me, I think Petty-GMS may be that next team. A team that has taken a good stride with the next-gen car in 2022 and has seemed to only have bolstered their roster and potential for 2023 and beyond. So let's look at some of the biggest reasons as to why the 43 may be elite again. Starting off with the driver of that 43 car, Erik Jones. In 2022, Erik Jones had a bit of a resurgent season. Jones had been fast early but could never close anything out, and many people were thinking that he just needed the right break to win one or maybe multiple races and qualify for the playoffs. Ultimately, he didn't, but when you look at the way that this season stacks up with 2021, it was a pretty good one. Starting off with the fact that instead of not getting a win like last year, he won in the Southern 500, one of the most difficult tracks to win at in Darlington, one of the most difficult races to win at, 500 miles at Darlington, and with a car now that needs to be taken care of, similar to what would be a driving style in the Gen 4 or even COT era, where the equipment might not always hold up, but if you're a good enough driver, you can make it last. He also got 3 top 5s, which is 3 more than he got last year. And while many might not see that as impressive, seeing a team that has barely scraped by to run in the top 20 get top 5s off of merit is a huge step and not something to overlook. And then the top 10 column, you saw a big change. 13 top 10s instead of 6. And with this, I would like to point out that everybody in a lot of ways up top was down in top 10s, barely getting over 20. So even if they don't improve all that much, if Jones takes another leap similar to what he did from 21 to 22, you could be looking at somebody who maybe by 2024 is averaging 20 top 10s a year, enough to be a championship contender. The leap that he took from 21 to 22 will be harder to replicate because there won't be the added change of a race car for them to catch up a bit with, but it is something that over the next couple years could be attainable. And he ran up front a lot more this year as well. Jones led 9 laps in 2021 as a whole. He led 147 in 2022. He's going to need to lead a couple hundred more laps, though, to be elite, and that's something that I think over time can be improved upon. Also, in the lead lap finish department, he increased by 5, and in the points finish, he increased by 6. On the season, he scored more total points than Austin Cindric, Bubba Wallace, and Aric Almirola. Add the 35 points back that he had taken away because of a penalty, and he scored more points all season than guys like Tyler Reddick and Chase Briscoe. Briscoe being somebody who managed to squeeze the needle through and actually compete for a Final 4 spot. So it's not that unrealistic to think that the 43 team and Erik Jones can do this. And if he was to up his average finish, not even by a full 2 positions, he would be a top 10 driver in 2022 by that metric. Which, when you look and see that the last jump up was 3, means that it's not unrealistic whatsoever. Plus, the 43 has full funding, so it's going to be the most secure ride that he's had with no one breathing down his neck and no sponsorship issues. This is the best ride security combo that Erik Jones has ever had. And for once, he can actually start building upon his career instead of looking over his shoulder. But with Petty-GMS, the 43, unlike a lot of the recent history at the 43, is not the only car. There also is the 42 team, which this year will be piloted by Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson will be taking over the 42 from Ty Dillon. So far this year, of the races he ran, he averaged a finish of 23.1 in 18 Cup starts, nearly even with Ty Gibbs, who got 22.5 with much better and well-funded equipment. The goal for Noah this year, in my opinion, is twofold. Number one, Gragson needs seat time. It's become a new goal for a lot of young drivers that they need to get to 75 Cup starts to really get a feel for the series, for the cars, for the competition, and Gragson right now is nowhere near that. He has 18 starts in Cup in total. He needs 57 more before he really can be judged for his merit in this series, and he just needs to get this seat time. Gragson showed promise at times. For instance, at Michigan, he was running in the top 5 with a colleague car that was not necessarily up to par the way that a lot of the other cars he was running with were running. So he has the talent to do it. And number 2, I think he needs to try to eclipse Ty Dillon's numbers in the car. Dillon is a relatively solid driver when it comes to running in mid-pack and bringing your car home. He's not an awful driver. He's not a great driver. He's somebody, though, that can get you the finishes you need to run comfortably mid. It's not an understatement, though, to say that an inexperienced rookie could fall short of these numbers. So, if Gragson is to impress, I think he needs to be better than Ty Dillon was in this car. Because if you can actually eclipse the numbers that someone who is running Cup for many, many seasons can do, then there is the potential that when you improve, you can be much better than just an average mid-pack driver. Petty-GMS has been a team on the rise in the last year, and I would think that as the year goes on, with Gragson getting more experience, this would only continue, this time with the 42 and 43 instead of just one of them. And he's shown a great amount of improvement on all fronts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. For instance, in 2022, he was the winningest driver in the series, getting 8 victories in only 33 starts. That's not bad whatsoever. He had the best equipment and he utilized that equipment. He was able to elevate that equipment at times over what some of his teammates who may even be just as talented could do, like Justin Allgaier and Josh Berry. Those are no slouch drivers whatsoever, and Gragson handily beat them when it came to running up front and getting wins. Now, looking at ownership is not something that most do, because in a lot of respects, ownership is one of those things that just sort of stays the same. It is a very good rock to build upon. But Petty-GMS has a new co-owner, Jimmie Johnson, a mystery box driver in the sense of being a team owner. Nobody knows how good of an owner he could be. He could be awful and run the team into the ground and screw everything up because of his inexperience. He could be just like he was as a driver and be one of the best ever. We simply don't know. But in the positive, he's going to be a great resource. He will be a good driver to mentor both Eric Jones and especially Noah Gragson, who's very green right now. And he'll be good in competition meetings, bringing up things that maybe those younger drivers wouldn't have thought to bring up. Many talked about when he left Hendrick that it was a big loss for the team, and it showed on the racetrack a little bit, and it took a little time for them to get used to the new dynamic. He'll have good notes for Petty-GMS to compare to also when he's racing. And when it comes to younger drivers he's helped mentor before, even in small ways, they have a pretty good track record. 3 of the current Hendrick Motorsports drivers are alumni when it comes to having Jimmie Johnson above them to help them harness their craft. Chase Elliott, the 2020 champion and one of the top 5 best drivers in Cup today. William Byron, someone who has not yet reached his full potential, but still has had a multi-win season and run quite well at times. And Alex Bowman, somebody who no one saw coming and won as many as 4 races only a year ago. He can bring a Hendrick Motorsports connection, whether it's just by talking through the garage or through some kind of alliance, as Chad Knaus and Jeff Gordon have a great history with him. And also, that could unite Chevy even more, and a rising tide for one lifts all ships kind of process. Also, he will be somebody who can draw in sponsorship, especially part-time. While Carvana has had problems with funding, and who knows, may not even be the company it is right now in a year or two, if they are able to come with NASCAR, they'd be a worthy successor to Lowe's, as they have had a great loyalty to Johnson during his IndyCar days, and will surely be able to maximize Jimmie Johnson's returning presence to NASCAR. The thing with Johnson is he brings experience that Petty teams really have not had experience in since the 1970s, a championship pedigree. And that's something that can't be replaced. He knows how to keep his composure in great moments of stress as a driver, and bringing that as an owner and helping calm down drivers like Eric Jones and especially Noah Gragson will be a great way to go about it as well. Plus, in Noah Gregson's case, Johnson can probably help him off the track and get into better shape so maybe he isn't throwing up after wins, which I think, even though people might laugh at that, would be a great help to Gregson's career. Now, obviously, there's going to be some pitfalls. I don't think that every year is going to be a 21 to 22 style gain, and there's a couple things to look at here. For instance, teams have another year of notes on the next gen. The best are going to rise to the top. Happens with every new generation of car, and I don't think that the next gen is going to be any different. And Petty-GMS is going to be tested. Do they run in the middle of the pack? Do they stay the same or fall back? Or do they make up even more ground and take this to their advantage? I don't think that these bigger teams will be as sloppy in year two, so it's going to be much tougher to get wins out of the hands of elite drivers. And parity is not going to be at the 2022 levels it is in 2023. But with that, I'm going to pass it on to you. Do you think Petty-GMS will be better or maybe even elite in the near future? Let me know down in the comments below. And while you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content through the off season. To all my channel members, thank you so much for your continuous support. And until next time, have a good one.